Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Customer Hub session, Bring TV broadcast quality to Microsoft Live Events. My name is Harumi Togo. I'm on the technical strategy team here at Microsoft, and I will be your host today. If we've met before, welcome back. And if this is your first time joining one of our Customer Hub sessions, welcome. We're glad to have you here. Today, as you can guess from our title slide here, we will focus our time together on the very popular topic of Teams live events, where we hope we'll be able to help you take your virtual events experience to the next level. Before we get started, I have some information I'd like to share. As we meet with customers in these type of events, we want to make sure that we're creating a sense of community for you, to provide you with a place to go after we're done with our presentation so you can continue the conversations and get your questions answered. Therefore, we want to make sure that you are aware of this modern work superheroes community. This community is a great way to stay connected to other folks. We have similar interests in hybrid work. It's easy to join and takes just a couple of steps. Can everyone hear me? Can I get a thumbs up if everyone can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. This community is a great way to stay connected to other folks who have similar interest in hybrid work, and also we have subject matter experts in this community ready to answer your questions. So if you'd like to join this community, first up, please make sure that you give us your consent, because Microsoft, we take your privacy very seriously. So we will start by having you fill in a quick form to provide your consent for us. Once our team gets your consent, they will take the necessary steps to give you access to the community. This should take about 2 to 3 business days. It will be through this community where you can get the deck from today's sessions, and all of our future Customer Hub session decks will be posted in this community under the file section. If you're interested in accessing to this recording, that will be posted to our publicly accessible Superheroes YouTube channel. We'll share all these links in the chat pane later, and I will reiterate this information at the end of the session again. So don't worry if you're missing any of this information now. I also want to introduce our brand new public Customer Hub schedule of events page. We have many new sessions with various topics coming up. So instead of blasting you with lots of emails for each session, we have created a website for you to check out the upcoming sessions yourself. You will find 2 different types of session on the website. One is called a module, and the other is called a wave. A module, it's a standalone 90-minute session, and you can sign up for the module directly from this website. Like today's session, this session, it's a module. A wave, it's a series of sessions delivered over multiple weeks. It's a journey we'll go through together. If you're interested in a wave, you can contact your Microsoft representative and they will nominate you for that wave. We have many amazing modules and waves coming up this month and in September, so please make sure you check out this page. All right, some housekeeping rules here. To avoid disruptions during today's session, we have muted lines just for now. However, I do want to encourage you to ask questions as we go, and you can do this by typing your questions in the chat pane. We have an army of very knowledgeable subject matter experts in the background ready to answer your questions. When we get to the end of today's session, you absolutely will have the opportunity to ask verbal questions to our presenters today. We'll give you a heads up when we get to that point in the presentation, at which time we'll allow you to unmute your line and you will be able to ask your question. All right, today I'm joined by my very good friend, Jim Garland. Jim is a very knowledgeable expert on live events and event production, and I'm very excited to have him today. He will spend the next 90-ish minutes talking about everything advanced live events. Jim, I'll hand things off to you to take us through today's session.
Great. Harumi, thanks for the introduction. And this is actually my second opportunity to present at Customer Hub. So always appreciate the opportunity to get in front of customers and share a little bit about what we're doing behind the scenes at Microsoft. This session is near and dear to my heart because this is actually what I've been working on for the past 3 years. Developing a team at Microsoft that can assist customers really produce television broadcast quality Teams events. And without further ado, I want to bring the team on screen with me. We're scaling this team globally. We have a couple of resources in EMEA, and we're looking to scale even further than that. But it's a small team, and we're linked very closely with Microsoft Production Studios so that we can help our customers produce events similar to the way we produce some of our highest end events. So just quickly introducing, and many of the people on the slide are in chat. So you do have, subject matter experts that'll be able to answer your questions in chat. As Harume mentioned, we'll have live Q&A at the end of the session, but my guess is they'll probably answer most questions before we get there. But we have Andrea, Cam, Lindley, Long, Mark, Nikki, Rodrigo, and Sylvia, as part of the advanced events team. We're at Modern Work. I do want to highlight that, we are a specialized team. If you are a customer that has a unified support contract, you could actually reach out directly to our team and we can assist you with your event production. But at the end of today's session, I'm going to leave you with several support options, no matter what type of customer with Microsoft you are. So want to dive in. This slide is fairly long, but we have a deep agenda. I was encouraged to try to shorten it up, but I think just for my own sake, keeping myself on track, I wanted to keep the agenda slide as robust as you see here. On the left-hand side, you'll see that I'm going to be covering mostly tools and features that are available to you to create these, high-quality, large-scale events. So go through defining broadcast, going through, native, the advanced features, talk about some partner tools, and then some third-party tools that we use. On the right-hand side, I'm going to focus mostly on process and workflow, talk about, how we do internal events, what's the workflow look like, do a demo. By the way, I have a lot of demos scheduled throughout this content, and I will definitely be doing them live. So always the risk that one may go wrong. So I'll ask for patience in advance, but I want you to see how the technology works, without having to look at slideware. So, you'll get to see, these features in action. I'm actually going to ask people to come on stage, turn on their cameras, and we're going to create, an advanced production. We're going to go into several call to actions. Like I said, we're going to have, support options for no matter what stage you are, no matter what type of customer you are. And then, we'll leave time at the end for, some Q&A. So diving into the content, what is television broadcast quality? And that's a pretty high standard that I'm setting for myself. And what you can see here are actually 9 images of events that this advanced events team produced over the past year or so. And in some cases, we actually did have to substitute stock photos because we didn't have permission to use individual likenesses. But all of this branding, all of these, events were actual events, and several of them are actually on YouTube. And I'm going to ask one of my colleagues, maybe post like the dot day, the top right-hand corner, event in YouTube. Please don't go look at it now. Stay focused on this event. But you can see after this, what one of these events looks like from beginning to end. And that dot day, that top right, I had so much fun, producing it. It was children's author targeted towards students. They have dot day every year. I know they're planning on their next annual, but I remember that we had thousands of classrooms, so tens of thousands of students tuning into that. So again, just highlighting some of the neat things that you see in these 9 examples. You see ASL interpreter overlays, you see panel discussions, you see fireside chats, you see, the bottom right one with an overlay in an auditorium. So again, I'm going to walk through a lot of these techniques in the session today for you and show you how we bring these events. And by the way, when we do a Satya All Hands, we have that ASL interpreter, we have those panel discussions, we have the different executives on screen, even though they may be connecting remotely with us. So with that, let's talk about what are the use cases that typically drive a customer to engage with our team? And we've narrowed it down really to 4 key, what we call hero scenarios. One, we have customers coming to us saying, we need to get more out of the native Teams features. We know that, the product group is releasing a lot of new features. We need to keep simplicity. We need to create, a self-service model for these large scale events. So our team can come in and advise, on those, actually very many native Teams features. But again, where the advanced broadcast comes in and is in the latter three. We'll get requests. Hey, we need a panel discussion. We need a fireside chat. We have learning. We have, we want, animated content, and we want lower thirds. So, that kind of covers that panel discussion. Then we have other customers coming to us and saying, hey, we figured out virtual events. We now want to do hybrid events. Hybrid event would be a physical space as well as virtual space, being in the same large scale event. And then the last hero scenario is we have customers coming to us and saying, hey, we have a broadcast studios, we have a workflow. How do we integrate Teams into our existing, studio workflow? So those are kind of the 4 key hero scenarios. And with that, I'm going to jump into, the production studios at Microsoft. So, again, we have, I would say CNN broadcast quality level broadcast studio. These are 2 photos of an example of, a hybrid event on the left-hand side, and then the main control room at Microsoft Broadcast Studios. We have a building dedicated for producing our events. And the interesting part is there's multiple conference rooms and studios within this facility. Not all of them have the hardware that you see here. And that's actually where we kind of bridge and tap into, because we find that's kind of the sweet spot for most customers, where they may have remote producers, they might have home offices that are producing these events, or they may have smaller facilities that are producing the events. This is actually my production studio when I'm producing a customer event on the right-hand side. I love this photo because on the left-hand side, we have some of the Microsoft Studios hardware in a rack. And if you look really closely, those are Intel NUCs on the left-hand side. And if you get a magnifying glass out, you'll notice I have this very same Intel NUCs in my setup on the right-hand side. So like I said, we're taking the technology, we're taking the approach that's being used by Microsoft Studios and applying it to our day-to-day work. So, all right, now, so I'm kind of jumping ahead because, like I said, we often get engaged on, hey, help us get the most out of Teams, and oftentimes this is a great starting point, and that's the native Teams features and now the native Teams premium features that are really allowing and creating the meeting organizer create a very unique panel discussion. There's now better ways of sharing content into Teams meetings where you get 30 FPS. But just, I'm not going to drain this list, but, you have green room, custom branding, together mode, moderated Q&A, closed captions, live captions. With Teams Premium, you have AI translated captions in Teams meetings, as well as, something that most broadcast studios will be familiar with, RTMP in and out of Teams meetings. So again, there's lots of options. If you're just starting on this journey of, hey, I want to create a very special experience. And I'm going to share with you an example of one of those requests that we get from a customer. And, in here, you'll see, the customer comes to us and say, hey, we have a keynote speaker planned. We have a panel planned. We want live Q&A at certain times. We don't want people coming on camera, off camera, turning on their mics. And we don't want, we only want, one person to be able to control the content. We want moderated Q&A, no free-flowing chat, and we want the attendance limited to a strict invite list. This is actually a very common request. And what you can see here is we then document the 10 key business requirements out of that description. And what you can see when you go from number 1 to number 1 over here, how the Teams meeting options are able to line up and bring this type of event together. Just, you can see no mic for attendees, no camera for attendees. 4 and 5, you can see, we've disabled that mic. Record automatically is number 6, so you can see we enabled that. No open chat is number 7. You can see allow meeting chat is disabled. So again, this just gives us the ability to kind of create, some of those polished experiences gives the meeting organizer complete control over the meeting experience. And oftentimes that's really what the event teams are looking for. They want a very controlled, disciplined, experience with some of these higher end broadcasts. So with that, like I said, I want to jump into, and the focus of today's session is I'm going to leave the native features kind of in the dust now and focused on what I'm calling the advanced broadcast teams features. And, and this is going to bring me into kind of my first demo. But before I do that, the star of the show is Teams native support for NDI. And NDI is, the acronym stands for Network Device Interface. It was developed by a company named NewTek, who still own the rights to NDI. It is an industry standard. By the way, I'm going to take a wild guess where the acronym came from. NDI sounds very close to HDMI and SDI, which are video protocols that are hardwired. NDI is basically video over IP. And the beauty of Teams having native support for NDI, it gives me the ability to pull out isolated video and isolated audio from a Teams meeting and bring it into my production workflow. So again, early in the days of COVID, production studios were doing screen captures or screen scraping of Teams meetings and other competitive platforms. And whenever anybody turned on their camera, the grid got messed up and their capture ended up looking wrong or incorrect. The good news is with NDI, producers can go in and pull those clean HDMI signals out of a Teams meeting and into their production workflow. So with that, I'm going to start my first live demo. And what I'm going to do before, well, actually, I'll do this as part of the demo. I'm going to quickly cut over to this. I'm using OBS for the demo. By the way, I'm going to have a better explanation of OBS in a moment. But at this time, I'm going to ask some of the Microsoft individuals in this call to turn on their camera. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to go into this meeting and I am going to go up here, click on streaming and click on broadcast over NDI. Now, the interesting thing is you're going to get a notification saying broadcast capabilities are turned down. I'm getting a notification saying, let people know you're broadcasting or sharing this meeting. This is similar to when you start recording a meeting. So again, when I enable this, it's letting the individuals know that, I have the ability to take the videos out and broadcast them into a platform. So I see 4 cameras. I'm hoping to get at least one more, if not even a few more. So the interesting thing is NDI is actually persistent. So when I go in and I set up a production workflow that's subscribing to those NDI signals, you can see Mark Goodnow's video is already being pulled in. And that's just because I probably did a test with him before this meeting. So the good news is you can do this during a rehearsal and have people linked in. But now let me show you kind of the magic of NDI. I'm going to go to moderator 1 here. I'm going to click properties here. And when I drop this down, you're going to see that and by the way, quick note here, we're testing a new feature that's coming out under Teams Premium very, very soon, where we have masked attendees. So, hold your applause, but I know that's been a feature that that many people have been waiting for and looking for. So again, very appropriate to test in this meeting because we have customers from every different industry, and only the presenters' names are available for me to see. So again, I am going to switch Lindley's video to Harume and we'll have Harume be the moderator here. And you can see up here that Harume's video is now selected. I'm going to go into panelist 1. And since I removed Lindley, I'm going to add Lindley back as panelist 1. And I'm now going to go to panelist 2. And I see Nikki has her camera on. And again, just highlighting what I'm working on here. And Long, I'm going to have you play 2 roles here. So you can see here that that I have the individual videos. And the exciting part of this is when I come over here, and it looks like I forgot to select somebody for panelist 4. So I'm going to go back in and let's see, who did I not select? Oh, Haruma, I got you twice. Okay, Mark Goodnow. I don't have Mark. So let me create a very good example of a panel discussion. But again, this is the power of NDI, and I'm able to create this branded experience. By the way, this branding was actually used in an event a couple of years ago, so it's not our best work, but it was created by a business manager. It wasn't even done by a graphic artist. We basically just instructed them on saying, hey, where do you want the videos? And yes, we set this all up in advance. And by the way, just quickly, you can see, this was all set up in advance and how quickly I said NDI is persistent, so that if I had set this up in a rehearsal with this team, their videos would already be being pulled in. And again, you probably saw how quickly I was able to swap the videos. Now, the other exciting thing is isolated audio. And if I could get one individual's Long, if you could come off mute for a second. You are panelist 3. So if I come over here, and if I can just get you to give me a check 1, 2, and into the meeting. It looks like you're unmuted. All right, I'm gonna switch over.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Perfect. Testing. Yeah, we got it. So again, I have this muted, but I'm gonna unmute this. And Long, if I can just get you to do another check 1, 2.
Yeah, check 1, 2. Check.
So you can see I'm getting Long's isolated audio here. So you saw those levels move, and you didn't see any of the other panelists. So again, we're never going to give permission for individuals, producers, to unmute you in a meeting. There's a privacy issue there. But the neat thing with this isolated audio, if you instruct your panelists to leave their microphones on, I can select which individual audio sources can be brought into the production, as well as I can mute them in my production software and unmute them in my production software, for the best possible experience. So I'm going to, again, like I said, I have a lot of content. I'm going to be coming back to this example. So if you can all leave your cameras turned on, I would, I want to make sure I can use this again later in the demo. So with that, I actually am going to want to now show you one other option that we have related to getting isolated video, because NDI, does use, IP. It does require, that Network Studio probably has a 10 gigabyte switch there. We also have a solution that's called Hardware Video Out. So with that, I'm actually going to switch to another device, and this is a device I have logged into this meeting. Again, it's masked by the attendee frame, but this device is actually my Hardware Video Out device. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Mark's video and go up here, click here, and you can see I have this option that says send video to hardware. And I'm actually going to do the demo first, and then I'm going to talk more about what's happening. So I'm going to send Mark's video. I get a message saying you're sending Mark's video to your Ultra Studio Monitor 3G. So what that means is I actually have a HDMI or SDI clean video signal of Mark. Now, I actually have that Ultra Studio Monitor 3G running into my ATEM Mini. So I'm able to push a button and bring Mark Goodnow's 16:9 video feed, into into my ATEM Mini. So I'm actually now going to say, hey, I want to grab, I want to switch to long. So I click switch, I get the message saying that, and when I click on this button, you can see I now have Long's video, 16:9. The beauty of this is, again, you have a large conference room and you want to bring, a speaker from a Teams meeting onto, you have the ability to go over here, send to hardware video. You can click stop, and you can go over here and you can change the resolution. You can say, hey, this is a large screen. I want 1080p 60. And you can select that, and then you can start the video over again. So again, have you ever tried to get, a video or an individual, you try and fit frame, you try and crop out the UI? Well, hardware video out solves that for you, where, you can bring that on screen. Last comment before I continue forward, I'm going to go back to, NDI for a moment. And the key thing with NDI is, if somebody was sharing content in this meeting, shared content, together mode, large gallery view, all become NDI assets that you can pull into your production. So, again, they become NDI sources that you can subscribe to. So anyway, like I said, NDI is the native support for NDI in a Teams meeting kind of becomes the star of the show. So let's continue to move forward, because I'm going to keep coming back and showing you how those NDI sources are leveraged in our other workflows for these types of events. And by the way, if you see me turning off to the side, I'm trying to keep 3 computers from sleeping so that my demos go smoothly. But the next thing I want to talk about is, 3 Teams Premium features. And by the way, I did a Teams Premium Customer Hub. It's on the Superheroes channel. It's on the YouTube channel. There's 20, 30, I've lost count of how many different Teams Premium features there are, but feel free to go back to that. By the way, Harume, I don't know if we want to pitch this, but we're going to be redoing those sessions live for EMEA customers and for Asia customers. So you may have already gotten an invitation from our Customer Hub team, but I will be redoing those sessions and improving actually on my original production. So anyway, you're going to get 3 sneak peeks of 3 Teams Premium features that really are great for producers. So the first one is Green Room. We have Green Room in Teams Live events. We're now going to have we now have Green Room for Teams Premium meeting organizers, where you get that start meeting button. So you can bring all your presenters in, and then you click start meeting, and then everyone joins it. You also have what we're calling managed mode. So again, I'm going to do a demo and show you just how fantastic that is. But again, managed mode allows you to control what the audience sees. In this little image, you can see off screen. So there's the off screen cameras, so the attendees don't see those individuals. And the last feature, again, for our broadcasters, is we have RTMP into a Teams meeting. So with that, like I said, I'm now going to do a quick demo just showing you how those 3 pieces of technology comes together. I'm now sharing another screen. This is a different computer. This is actually Jim Producer. And I have 3 demos set up on this computer. So I'm going to be going into the first one right here. This is a meeting. I set it up in advance just in the interest of time. But I'll go to the meeting options right here. This is a Teams Premium account. And you can see here, I've enabled Manage What Attendees See, which is the Teams Premium feature. I enabled RTMP in. I get the RTMP URL and the stream key. For people familiar with RTMP, I'm sure that's going to be familiar. And then I have enabled Green Room. So those are the 3 features that I enabled. I don't think I changed anything else. I think I may have disabled mic for the attendees, because typically when you're streaming an event, you don't want individuals to be turning on their cameras, and chatting. So I'm going to join this meeting, and let me just turn on my camera, because that'll give a good example of, and what you can see here is this is not your typical Teams meeting. So first of all, like I said, you have that start meeting icon. You have this red box which says bring presenters on screen and share content that you want your attendees to see. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to that NDI demo that I created, and I'm going to click start streaming. I'm not going to show you doing this. Just know that it's happening in the background. And I already have it pre-configured to connect with this meeting. So you can see that that custom RTMP feed, basically showed up in the off screen, and I can now bring this on screen. So again, what you're getting here is the ability for individual, again, for me to take that NDI and then stream it into another Teams meeting. So before I go a step further, I'm actually going to switch to another computer and introduce you to Jim Demo. Jim Demo is an attendee in this meeting for this use case, and I'm going to have Jim Demo join this call. And what you're going to see here is you're going to see the flip side of Green Room. And so this person bypassed the lobby because Jim Demo is on the same tenant as Jim Producer. And lobby and Green Room work in partnership. I kind of use the analogy of the lobby is where in a movie theater is where you turn in your ticket, and Green Room is the curtain in front of the screen. So you hand in your ticket, you get past the lobby, you sit down, and the curtain is down while we have Green Room activated. When we click Start Meeting, the curtain is up and the meeting begins. So what I'm going to do without switching screens is I'm actually going to go on the Jim Producer account now and click Start Meeting. And I'm leaving it on this screen here so that you can see that the meeting is starting to activate, and you can see the attendee experience where, and again, I'm just getting messages saying my mic has been disabled and things like that. But you can see the production, and the only thing the attendees are seeing is that custom RTMP feed. So, very powerful tool. And again, I'm going to switch now back to the producer's view. And unfortunately, like I said, I'm challenging the live demos because my camera is not working on this device, but it is down here. It's just showing, a black box. But if I click Bring on Screen, that would be my camera feed. And now when I switch over to the attendee view, you can see I've now split the screen between Jim Producer and the custom RTMP feed. Of course, if my camera was working, and I'm actually getting a message saying my video stopped working on this device. So, at least Teams is letting me know what I've already figured out. Again, I'm going to go back to that Manage Attendee view here, and I can take Jim Producer off screen, and again it goes right back to that custom RTMP as the primary video feed. So
Jim, if I could interrupt
Yes.
you just briefly. By the way, we were getting lots of activity in the chat. Thank you, everybody. One question was about 1080p. I know that Teams Live Events is 720, but why don't you talk a little bit about the resolution capability and this feature?
Perfect. Yeah, great, Mark. That's a great question. And one of the exciting things is this has the ability to go 1080p. So similar to your Teams cameras, and when you go into Call Health, you can, Call Health is my best friend, when I'm doing an event, constantly looking at what my screen share is, what my video coming in is, coming in at. But yes, this is giving you the ability to bring, 1080p 30 FPS into a Teams meeting. So, all right, like I said, I have lots of demos coming up, and I'm going to keep moving along. And the next topic that I'd like to share with you is some of the partner tools. And before I jump into that, I'm just going to actually leave the 2 meetings that I started and get my next demo set up. Okay, so again, I'm kind of building this from simple to more complex, and I probably should have highlighted this before I dove in. So I started with the native Teams features, which gives you the most out of the box experience possible. I've gone to Teams Premium features, which with the addition of Teams Premium, you get those additional polishing, nice touches to add. Several of our partners have built tools, and I'm going to highlight a couple of them. And then lastly, I'm going to leave you with the ultimate customization, the ultimate complexity, which is that OBS and vMix. So with that, I'd like to introduce 2 of our partner solutions, and they both leverage what we call the Microsoft Broadcast Development Kit, the BDK, and they have basically tapped into the same technology I've shared with you on NDI, the ability to grab these isolated videos out of a Teams meeting. So we have on the left-hand side, we have Live Arena AI Producer. And in that small image, I'm going to go into detail on both of these. They've built an integrated app into that you can add to a Teams meeting, and you can create these productions directly from a Teams meeting. On the right-hand side, we have Epiphen and their solution, Epiphen Connect. And what they've done is, where I'm doing the NDI, they've created a cloud solution so that you can access and actually send those isolated videos to hardware as well as into a production environment. So again, you saw the photo of my production studio where I'm producing events, and I'm sure I got a few reactions like, we're not going to invest in that. Well, the good news is these partner solutions are great alternatives where they're both leveraging Teams, they're leveraging cloud, they're leveraging Azure, and they're basically giving the ability to produce those quality of events directly from Teams or directly in the cloud. So with that, I'm going to start off with AI Producer, and I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. I actually have a demo with AI Producer, but what you can see here, and again, you can go to the Live Arena AI Producer website, get more. They're a Azure Marketplace, they're Mac eligible, so this solution, is available, and fully integrated within Teams. So I just want to highlight, I love this picture where you just have the AI Producer app, you drop down, you open it up, and you can produce an event directly from the Teams console. You don't need vMix, you don't need OBS, you don't need extra hardware, and away and you're running with producing an event. This slide, again, gives you the idea of when you add, AI Producer, you get to select whether or not you want a rundown, whether you want a panel, a talk show, or a presentation. So they give you those set up templates, and it's also very powerful where you can select logos, backgrounds, and you can create an organization policy where they're available to anybody to set that up so that you can keep a consistent look and feel. I do want to highlight that they have a solution for meetings and a solution for broadcasting. The meetings is a fantastic tool if you just want a better meeting experience, you want a better recording, you want a better video playback option. The broadcast is again, kind of, mirroring what I did with my OBS demo. So with that, I'm going to dive into, and again, I apologize. Looks like that camera just doesn't want to work on this computer. And actually, I have a good solution for it. I'm going to turn on the front-facing camera of that device and get the camera to work. But I have this AI Producer meeting already set up on this account. And before I join the meeting, I'm just going to click here. I'm going to go over here. I added the AI Producer app to the meeting. I'm going to go into this real quickly, and I selected a talk show template. So I just put Jim Demo and Jim Producer side by side. I gave some lower thirds. They probably won't trigger because I think they only trigger when, and for this demo, they're not going to trigger because I'm just going to leave it side by side. They trigger when they're in an isolated view. And again, happy to connect you with the Live Arena team, and they can do demos. I just want to, again, the purpose of this demo is really just to show the power of some of our partner solutions that are leveraging that broadcast development kit. So like I said, I have a great solution. I'm actually going to select a different camera, and there we go. And I'm going to turn off audio just to prevent an audio loop. I'm going to join this meeting. And I'm now going to click the AI Producer application. I'm going to switch now to the Jim Demo account, and I'm going to have Jim Demo, who in this case is the Fireside Chat participant. I'm going to click Join Now. And you can see, I'm just going to mute the mic here. The experience for Jim Demo is just your typical Teams experience. So let's go back to Jim Producer, who is the Live Arena technician or producer in this event. And you can see that app has loaded. I can now click Prepare. And Prepare basically is just having that media bot come join this meeting, which is then going to be able to pull the videos out. So you can see the AI Producer bot has joined the meeting, and the prep should end shortly. And the neat thing here, I want to highlight, is we can have bumpers, we can have videos, we can have several different things, all pre-configured. You can actually do a rundown and set this up. I'm actually going to click Start Broadcast here, and what you'll see is in this little app, you can see that 2x2 panel that I had created in that template. And the neat thing is this is now being recorded, being sent to OneDrive. I can also send this to an RTMP destination. I can send this to a Teams Live event, I can send it to multiple destinations, which is another powerful feature on this. And again, by the way, the AI Producer took over, and it decided that one individual is speaking. So I'm actually going to switch to manual mode, which is my favorite feature, just because I'm a producer, and I'm going to force it into that 2x2. So you can see that it went back to the 2-panel setting. So again, the AI aspect of this is it will try to predict what should be prominently displayed. But again, if you want to bypass the AI portion and just manually control, you have that manual option. So with that, like I said, I now want to switch and talk about the next partner tool. And let me just close these meetings just quickly so I can get set up for the next demo. The next partner tool is Epiphen Connect. And I have colleagues that have had great success with this. Epiphen Connect, like I said, is basically doing that NDI demo that I had with OBS, except doing it in the cloud. So, the Epiphen Connect will have a bot join your Teams meeting and then allow you to pull those isolated videos and audio into the cloud. And then you can actually then instruct Epiphen Connect to send it to a hardware device. You can also use their solution to create a production in the cloud and then stream it to another solution. So instead of it doing a demo, I'm going to share a video just because it's a great Microsoft use case where we leveraged Epiphen Connect internally at Microsoft and the success of that solution. So before I play this, just another pro tip, I'm actually going to turn off noise suppression on my device so that you get the best audio playback of this video. So I just did that, and I'm now going to hit play on the video.
Microsoft has always been a company that allowed you to work from anywhere and be your best from anywhere. And so video experience have been a game changer for us. As a leader of the business, you want to have a certain brand image, you want to be very professional and really showcase what we can do as a company.
There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to make sure that these events go off without a hitch. Epiphan Connect makes the broadcast and production experience much easier. It's a deep Teams integration that extracts the video and audio feeds from within a Teams meeting and pushes them to familiar live broadcasting tools. That means as a producer, you can focus more on the content that you're delivering. And for a participant, all you need to do is dial into a Teams meeting.
My heroes. But it really was the Apollo moon landing that captured my imagination and made me start to dream about wanting to become an astronaut myself.
It really felt like you were watching a television show. It gave a little bit more production value. It really created that feel of something special, something better.
We've received nothing but positive feedback about Epiphan Connect. Our viewers are able to connect with our message, and we're able to deliver messages with confidence.
One of my colleagues turned to me and said that was the best virtual event that he has attended at Microsoft. He didn't have the context of what was happening behind the scenes. He just experienced an amazing event, which was pretty cool.
All right, great. So, hopefully you got a lot out of that video. The thing I want to highlight on both of these partner solutions is we're leveraging both of these internally. You may ask, well, Jim, didn't you just tell me you had Building 127 Microsoft Broadcast Studios? We do, but that facility is almost always at capacity. There are so many all hands and different events that we're wanting to get great broadcast quality. I recently partnered with Live Arena for our MCAPs and Inspire, and we leveraged that AI producer solution for those sessions because we couldn't get rooms in the studios. And again, that video, I love that video where they're leveraging that, and I'm working closely with some of our Converge Comm CSMs that are helping deploy that solution with customers. Again, I'm taking you on a journey here where you can kind of decide between native Teams tool sets, some partner solutions that really simplify the process, but have that same overall broadcast feel. And in my next segment is where I take you to the most complex, and oftentimes where I'll get customers just saying, Jim, this is where you're losing me. We don't have these skills. We don't have the expertise. But for every 10 customers that say that, I get one customer that comes back and say, yep, we've got vMix, we've got TriCasters, and how do we get more out of Teams so that our existing workflow is polished and looking great. So again, I'm now moving into the OBS and vMix software encoders. Really the kind of difference, the step between those partner solutions and vMix is, this is the ultimate, customization. You're free to put that logo anywhere you want on the page. But again, when I show you vMix and OBS, you'll see the complexity an exponential step compared to those partner solutions. But again, want to highlight though that when you go to this type of production, you really do open up the ultimate complexity in terms of animated lower thirds, logo bugs. We did news features, and I'm sure our partners are saying, well, I can do that, and they can, and they're improving their products every day. But the neat thing with these tools is it does give your production team true customization for the solution. So again, oftentimes OBS is an open source solution. So if someone is interested in just kind of recreating some of what they saw in today's OBS and the NDI plugin, by the way, it is a plugin that you would have to add. will allow you to unlock. And by the way, there are NDI cameras that you can install on your phone, so you can bring in the NDI sources, because the NDI feature within Teams is disabled by default. You would have to work with your company to go through, a security review, a policy setting, and things like that. By the way, in a call to action, definitely, if you're interested in, enabling an NDI pilot, on your tenant, I'm going to give you, a couple different sources for where you can get, engineers and support down that path. But OBS is a great starting point. It's a very simple. By the way, encoders are very much like PowerPoint, where you start with a blank canvas and you build on top of it. vMix is a commercial software encoder, meaning it's developed by a commercial enterprise, so you can get support. OBS is you're crowdsourcing support and things like that, and you have various contributors to the overall source code. Probably not the most appropriate for most enterprise situations. So the option in those cases is really vMix, and it does have a much more polished feel and more features that I like. Especially you can see on the right hand side, it's got a very detailed audio panel, and with that, I'm gonna share with you, as soon as I click the right button. Let's take a look at both of those tools a little bit closer. So I'm going to go back to my NDI demo, and like I said, I was using OBS, and what you can see here is this event was actually 12 scenes, and it was designed really to go 1 through 12 and done and over. The opening scene was a video, an opening loop. An audio source, there was an audio file, a transparency just to make some neat, cool, rounded edges, and a background. So it was four elements on that. When you go to scene 2, it was the host. So we had an audio device so that we bring the audio in. We had a transparency, and we had the 2 NDI videos being brought in, as well as a background. The background is just there, so it's typically just color matched to your transparency. I quickly just want to show you this. This scene, a little bit more complex. We have the audio capture, we have the transparency, we have the background still, we have the 2 hosts, and then we just have a Microsoft Super Bowl commercial. We could also have PowerPoint content. We could have whatever we want in there. And again, the beauty of this, I don't have all the NDI sources linked, so I don't think I linked the keynote speaker. And during that event, that was actually PowerPoint content that was shared. And again, going back to that executive panel, similar to what you have in 2 partner solutions, this is we've created like basically a rundown. And the neat thing is, let's say we want to go back to that video. It's that easy for me to go back and click on that. So again, you get the audio mixer, you get some, again, I probably should hit stop streaming here, because that was where I was streaming to that Teams meeting. But anyway, again, this isn't intended as an OBS workshop, but there's plenty of information on the web to learn more about that. So now what I want to do is share with you vMix. I'm actually using vMix for my presentation for all my demos today. So you probably get a sense I'm switching between several different computers. Well, vMix is a tool that's allowing me to do this. I'm going to bring this over to the window, and there's going to be a little bit of a tearing effect because I'm bringing this window into vMix. But basically right now I'm on scene 29. Hopefully by the end I'm going to get to scene 59. But you can see, I've basically been navigating through this. I created it in PowerPoint. I brought the PowerPoint slides into vMix as my backgrounds, and then I overlaid the different video elements, my camera, the different computer, windows. Again, you can see here I'm bringing in this particular window into this and then sharing this into that meeting. That's why you're getting that tiering effect. So that's why I'm going to swap back over and have the vMix. But again, just wanted to highlight, how, not only for live events and things like that, it really can up your game in terms of, just producing, a Teams meeting. So, that's kind of my quick overview of those tools. And now we're finally making it to the right-hand side of the agenda. And this is where I'm going to kind of pause and walk through, what is that workflow? Okay, Jim, you've kind of given me a couple of demos, but I'm not really following, how this is all coming together. And, I can't take credit for this slide, but we have made some improvements. This is the best visual I've found to date to really explain the workflow. And again, it starts with that Teams meeting, and I'm using this webinar as our Teams meeting. You can see we have remote participants. So these were the Microsoft people that I asked to turn on their cameras. I'm getting their isolated video, either through hardware video out or NDI. I'm bringing them into, in this case, into my OBS, production, that Better Together event that I'm using as my example. And then I'm able to then stream this to anywhere where my attendees are. So you can see here, Teams Live event, Viva Engage event, and custom destinations. I work with educations where they have some school districts in their area that aren't on Microsoft, so we have to stream to some other platform. So the neat thing is, we can stream to single or multiple, destinations. So oftentimes, we'll be streaming to 2 or more different destinations. So again, I just want to go through this because this is important to understand. There's a Teams meeting. You have, and again, if it's a hybrid event, you'd have the physical space join that Teams meeting. You then have a producer that joins the meeting. And by the way, it's only the producer that needs NDI. The producer can then grab the video and audio from that meeting. They then use a tool to group that, collection back together in whatever format they want, and then they stream it to your attendees. So again, it seems like a lot of overhead, but there's a lot of beauty to this because you get the benefit of, one, the producer can take their audio out of the whole mix, and the producer can start counting down. The producer can say, last question, or, you're over time. Trust me, I've been asked to do that on many occasions. But you have this isolation between your Teams meeting and the audience. And again, another beauty of this is, as easy as it was, I think there was one person that had problems with audio when we were first joining. Hopefully that got resolved. But this workflow means your executive leadership team that you're getting in, they just have to have a great Teams meeting. You don't have to worry about teaching them about live events and things like that. You just get them into a Teams meeting, tell them to have a great Teams meeting, and your producer will take care of making them look great. So again, feel free to drop questions on the workflow. A lot of benefits to doing that. And I actually am going to take you through another demo, just highlighting, rebuilding or recreating that workflow. And I'm going to do it into a Teams Live event. And just to introduce you to, Teams Live events, this is the producer's view. If you're a producers of a TLE, you have the ability to select that content, bring it to your queue, and then send it live. So with that, I actually have a live event already set up on my computer. Of course, that computer went to sleep, so I'm going to fill time for a second and get that computer brought back to life. And I want to show you both the producer's view and the attendee view of that experience. So with that, let's go into my next demo. So again, introducing Jim Producer again. And if I can get, make sure that panel's still looking good and their cameras are all still on. So like I said, I have a live event set up on this device. I set it up beforehand, but I'm going to go back in and edit the settings. And you can see here that I'm just listed as producer. I'm going to go into settings. I set this up as a public event. I set it up as a Teams encoder, which just means I'm able to RTMP into this live event. I enabled Q&A. I enabled with RTMP in, you only get English captions. With hardware video in, you get the ability to select up to 6 languages that it can be broadcast into. So nothing special. That was really it in terms of setting it up. I get the attendee link right here. By the way, I've already chatted that over to Jim Demo. So when I get this live event up and running, Jim Demo is going to click on the attendee link and join that live event. So one thing I have to do is like I said, I set this up as an RTMP event. So this is going to be a quick workshop for anybody interested in becoming a famous Twitch streamer. I'm going to hit cancel here. I'm going to go back to my live event. I'm going to edit this and sorry, I'm going to hit close. I'm going to go here, and right here I have the RTMP information for this link. I've actually already sent that information to this account. Or actually, it looks like I haven't. So you're definitely going to get your Twitch streaming. I'm joking about that just because if you do want to stream on Twitch, you basically are going to use an RTMP feed. And so, like I said, this is kind of industry standard. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to copy the RTMP link. I'm going to go into my chat. I'm going to paste it here for my producer. And I'm going to go back to that meeting and get the stream key. Copy that, hit close, go over to chat and paste that. And Mark, while I'm copying this over, do we have any interesting questions from chat or anything individuals are interested in? Because what I'm doing right now is I'm actually going in and copying that stream key and that URL into OBS so that instead of streaming to the Teams meeting, I can stream to the live event.
There was a question about the encoder and captions, which I think you did address. Did you want to talk a little bit about Teams meetings development at all and that roadmap just briefly, or?
No, not at this time. That'll be a follow-up session.
Yeah, the team
So-
the team is doing a good job addressing a lot of back and forth and discussions going on in the chat. I think we're
Perfect.
handling most, but definitely I know you have some Q&A time set aside for the end.
Excellent, and that gave me enough time to get that stream key pasted into OBS. I'm going to join that live event now, and what you can see is this event requires RTMP. I'm going to hit dismiss. I'm going to hit start streaming in OBS again, and if I copied and pasted correctly, down at the bottom of that live event will show up my RTMP feed, which it did. I'm now going to select this. I'm now going to click send live. And again, this is the Crash Course in Teams live event because I do want to leave some time for Q&A. I'm going to hit continue, and the live event is starting. So again, you can see, that when you think about that workflow, I'm using this webinar as our Teams meeting, as our presenters meeting. I'm taking the video out of that. I've created the panel in OBS, and I'm now streaming this to a live event. So let's take a look from the attendee experience. So switching over to Jim Demo, and Jim Demo typically would get a Outlook invitation with the join link here, but I was lazy and just sent it via chat. Another pro tip here, to know that you have the right attendee link, the attendee link will always have role equals A at the end. I've had customers that give the wrong link to their attendees, and that sometimes becomes disastrous. So it's always smart, one, to use a vanity URL so that you can fix it on the fly, but it's always smart to make sure that it says role equals A. So you can see I click that, and here's my live event experience as an attendee. Now, the interesting thing is I did include, Q&A here, so I can ask a question. I'm going to do this really quick. Don't worry about my spelling. Trust me, the font on this computer is really small so that I can bring it into the other computer. But I sent this as a Q&A. I'll come back to that when we go back to the producer panel. Down here, you can, I have captions that I can turn on and off. If I had selected different languages, those languages would be there. It is DVR. Right now you can see I'm live, but I could pause and replay if I wanted to. Let's take a quick look back at the producer's view. So again, switching back to Jim Producer, I can go up to this Q&A icon, click here, and it is fully moderated Q&A. So not very complex, but you get new, published, and dismissed. So, new means it's, obviously new from the audience. No other attendees can see this. You actually have to publish it before other attendees can see it. I have the ability to reply privately. In this case, I'm just going to click publish, and I'm going to go to publish, and I'm just going to say yes. And again, this just quick overview. This is just standard live events out of the box. But since I was doing this demo, I figured it'd be worth just kind of showing that experience. Again, going back to the attendee view, if I go back here, there will be a highlight that, there's featured. So that's now showing up as featured. The answer is there. Again, I can click on my questions as well if there were like private replies and things like that. This can be sorted by most recent, most liked, both on the moderator side as well as the attendee side. So anyway, this is, at a high level, that workflow coming to life where I'm taking this webinar, broadcasting it into, a Teams live event. So next, I could have done this just as easy, and I probably should have, because I love Viva Engaged events. The reason I didn't feel the need to do this is, one, this is a great picture of a Viva Engaged event. Two, Viva Engaged events are using Teams live events behind the scenes. So when you schedule a Viva Engaged event, the broadcast mechanism actually is a Teams live event. And basically what we're doing is we're taking that live event and we're embedding it in a Viva Engaged element, on that community, and we're adding in that discussion and question that you get with Viva Engaged. So the experience to me is a lot cooler. Again, may not be appropriate for every event, but if you want that kind of free-flowing communication, it's a uplifting and it's a great discussion. Viva Engaged events are phenomenal, and you get that benefit of having that, really kind of streaming experience right alongside the event that everyone that's part of that community can be a part of. So with that, I've only got 20 minutes left. I'm going to pick up the speed a little bit, is because the next topic is a really important one, is hybrid events. It's the most popular request these days because this is probably going to be the future of large-scale events, moving forward. There's going to be some element where there's a physical space, attendees in the space, presenters in the physical space, and then attendees and presenters that can't attend in person or are connecting remotely. So again, I'm going to go through this quickly, but just want to highlight, like, this was a schematic. We had one customer come to us and just said, we want to do our first hybrid event. We don't know where to begin. Design us the ideal, hybrid event. And we came up with a schematic. We said, oh, we want 3 screens, we want 3 monitors, we want, camera switchers and things like that. And, and we went into detail on this, and they finally responded in saying, this answers every question we didn't know to ask. This is my favorite event that I support. And by the way, I have a link to this event on my LinkedIn page. So if people were referred to register from this, you can actually see this event. This is the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge Award Show. The advanced events team, and again, I don't take credit for it. It's the whole team that works with Easter Seals and the Disability Film Challenge to do their award show every year. We've done it for the past 3 years. This moment was really special. This was at the end where the host wanted all the winners to come up on stage. We had 3 winners that were not there in person. And you can see we used Teams and NDI to bring those 3 winners up on stage. Again, the interesting thing is Mark Goodnow, who's come off mute a couple times, he was producing the virtual event. I was producing the in-room event. So, Mark and I had very similar collections, but what we displayed in the room was different than what we were displaying to the virtual attendees. And the neat thing is, the attendees actually got this kind of view so they could actually see that they were on screen. And the reason you have those 2 different views is, when I'm doing the in-room experience, I really don't need to bring the person on stage on the big screen. But for the virtual attendees, you're going to want, the person on stage plus the content or plus anybody else they're talking to. So, it's kind of an interesting dynamic. And when you approach it that, hey, you're going to really have 2 productions, you can really create a very polished experience like you're seeing here. By the way, we had Getty Images taking photos of this. This was a tearjerker, for, everybody that was participating. Another event that we support, like I said, we strive to have the same quality of the Satya Town Hall. This was a multi-location hybrid event. So we actually had like a DJ in one room. We had, students in a different room. The ASL interpreter team was, virtually. And again, through NDI, we were able to bring it all together and create just a great looking, broadcast that, again, similar to the Easter Seals, we had an in-room broadcast and a virtual broadcast because we had that combination. Okay, so that's kind of my quick recap on hybrid events. My next is the gotcha. It's like, before you do anything, think about network considerations, because I can't leave you today without saying, hey, you want to go host an event for 6,000 people, and there's 2 things that you need to be thinking about. One is split tunneling and one is ECDN. So, one thing is that Microsoft offers media network performance assessments through unified support. And, these will basically just ensure that your network is configured to support that traffic that's generated for reaching such a large audience. Split tunneling basically just means that you take the Teams traffic off of your VPN. So all of your remote users aren't using corporate network every time they're watching an event. They're just using their home network. So split tunneling is very important if you have a lot of remote users, joining and participating in the event. ECDN, Microsoft now has a native ECDN. There's, Collective Hive. There's several partners, that have, ECDN is the technology that optimizes it for your corporate network, those that are back in office. And what it does, it creates a peer-to-peer sharing group so that, instead of having everybody in the office connect to the Microsoft Data Center and stream that broadcast, it basically means one will go and stream it, and they can have up to 15 people that actually share that one stream. So you can actually see, and we're seeing, 90% reductions in network bandwidth outside of the facilities when you enable ECDN. So again, split tunneling, ECDN, are all things that, you can engage with Microsoft and get more details in how to enable and deploy. And that's actually a great segue for me to kind of go into, I'm going to leave you with a fairly complex call to action. And I wanted to organize this in a logical way instead of just throwing you all the information. I've grouped this into learning and awareness, rapid deployment, support engineers, and then what I'm calling optimization. So The next few slides, I'm going to share with you resources, in each of those categories. And, again, if you're just wanting to learn, that's step one. If you're already, interested and you just want to get this up and running on your tenant, that's going to be bullet 2. But let me jump in, and, this is where I'm going to ask my team to post these links in the chat. So we have a virtual event playbook. This started as a 150-page PowerPoint. It's now a full-blown website, which basically covers every element of planning a virtual event specifically around Teams, but it has great resources like checklists and things like that meeting organizers will benefit no matter what type of event they're playing on. The next link that I'll ask people to share is the Custom Production VEP, which is Virtual Event Playbook. If you're interested in NDI and you're interested in OBS, this is the deck that will take you and basically walk through and teach you how to create a similar collection as My Better Together. So these are the 2 resources that are just great for learning and awareness. Next, I want to introduce you to Microsoft Fast Track. And Fast Track, you have to have 150 paid licenses, but the good news is that's, again, compared to my team, that's actually a fairly low threshold. But if you have 150 paid Teams licenses, you can tap into Fast Track. And by the way, when you take a look at what they can help with, it's a free service if you have those available. They can help you with events, they can help you with meetings, they can help you with phone, with rooms, and get them rapidly deployed and working. So again, just want to highlight, what to expect if you want to engage with Fast Track. They're really kind of rapid deployment. They're going to help you with the onboarding, the deployment. They're going to have guidance, for any of these support services, and you have access for as long as you have those 150 licenses. They're going to have the best practices, the tools, the resources, the adoption guidance at their fingertips that they'll be able to work with your teams internally. Again, you can just take a quick look in terms of, they're not going to do the project management. They're not going to do the on-site readiness. They're not going to execute the change management, but they will be side by side. They will be partners with your team, if you want to, deploy any one of those technologies on that first page. And I'm not going to leave you without another link. So we have a forum, if you want to engage Fast Track and look at any of those services that were listed on that page, or if you're interested in, getting live events set up. Live events, by the way, is blocked by policy as well. So, if you went through and said, oh, I can't schedule a live event like Jim did in his demo, you can engage Fast Track and they can work with your, admins and get live events enabled for your tenants. All right, so that really is the rapid deployment. The next is support engineers. So let's say you do enable live events and you get them up and working with the help of Fast Track. We have another program called LEAP, which will give you a couple hours of a support engineer on an event-by-event basis. So if you're new to this and you want to have, someone at Microsoft on the call available for you, answer questions, explain, how the moderated Q&A works, LEAP is a perfect program for you. And again, that's a free program that we've set up for COVID. I believe right now it's been extended through the end of the calendar year. We reevaluate depending on the demand every half year. So again, I would encourage you, take advantage of it. But lastly, I'm going to leave you with this slide. And this is what I called optimization. So if you want to move into the advanced production, I'm leaving you with the distribution list here, advanced events team at Microsoft.com. I would encourage you, again, that will be a direct line to my team. I would encourage you to copy your account team, whether you know your account executive or you know your CSAM, just so that we can expedite our engagement with you. But just want to highlight again, this is for customers that have unified support contracts. Our team is part of Modern Work Cloud Solution Architects, so we are a support team that supports customers that have that unified support contract. And just giving you a few things that we can do is, really we can help your production studios. We can be technical consultants. We can, we're kind of, taking Leap to the next stage, where if you want a backup producer, you want a lead producer, you want a session on how you're going to set up an ASL interpreter, we can arrange that through your unified support and put you in touch with, any one of the individuals on our team. Again, just want to highlight, anything that you're interested in learning more today. Hopefully you have, 4 different resources that you can tap into. Just one last pitch for my team, since I'm the only speaker on the all 4, is we've worked with over 100 customers this calendar year so far. So, we've really are helping customers, take their Teams meetings to the next level. And, this group of individuals just has a huge passion for, really just like the television broadcast. Hopefully you get a feel for, why that rings true, and everyone you see on the screen, really has a passion for the technology and for customers. So I hope, that you'll reach out to us. So Harume, I know I'm not leaving a lot of time for Q&A. Hopefully the chat team has been busy with that. I'm going to move forward and hand it over to you, and then maybe we'll get a couple questions in at the end.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, James. Thank you so much. Great information, amazing session, amazing demo. We only have 5 minutes, so I'm going to make it really quick and just jump into live Q&A. But this is the community where you're going to find all of the decks from all of the Customer Hub session, including today's Jim sessions. So if you want to join the community, please make sure you submit your consent form with Azure within the next 2 to 3 business days. If you want a recording of this session, that will be posted to our public Superheroes YouTube channel. I will post all the links in the chat. You can advance to the next slide, Jim, please. So we want to have some feedback from you. So this is really important for us. We take your feedback really seriously. I read every single piece of feedback come in, and we really try to make sure that we reflect on our future sessions. So please help us to improve our program. All right, so thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Jim. Amazing session. Again, if you want to share this recording with your use your team or with your company, then you can find it on the YouTube channel. And we have more amazing sessions and modules coming up in this month and September. So I just posted the Customer Hub schedule of events link in the chat. Please make sure you check out the page, and then you can sign up for the future sessions. And Jim is going to present a Teams Premium session September 13th and September 12, 20, or 21st. Was kind of like debating on the dates, but yeah, he's going to present again on Teams Premium. So please make sure you sign up for those sessions, and we look forward to seeing you in our future sessions. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.
Thanks all.